It's used by millions each week, yet steers like a bicycle on ice and just won't go where it's pointed. That's simply not good enough for leading designers Richard Seymour and Dick Powell. They've taken on the challenge of taming the wayward trolley.
But there's that joke, isn't there? This thing about what's the difference between an Essex girl and a supermarket
what
trolley.
What is the difference?
A supermarket trolley is a mind of its own.
Should we go for the champagne or the crisps? Oh my God, we got an oversteer situation here. This is really now getting beyond control.
I actually can't get it to go straight at all. You have to use a lot of force. It's worse when you're sort of trying to negotiate ramps and that outside to get to the car.
Right.
They sort of run away from you. Steering it round corners.
Richard and Dick have decided the end is nigh for the weekly shopping trolley workout and the effort needed to heft a laden trolley round corners.
So, you've really got to...
My body was mine sort of steering it. My whole body. It's a real effort. It really is.
The thing that gives the trolley a mind of its own are the four casters, each of which are free to point in any direction. These floating casters give great manoeuvrability, but they also make it impossible to keep the trolley on the straight and narrow.
I don't know why they put these wheels on there all these years.
The challenge is clear, a shopping trolley that goes where it's pointed. Now what could be so difficult about that?
This is a really complex issue because there's a lot of physics involved in it. There's probably a lot of planetary science involved in it. Just why is it doing it? And we're going to need to look into that quite carefully and find out what's going on, because experienced though we are in things that move around, this is a law unto itself.
And the trolley's abject steering doesn't end at the doors of the supermarket, especially if there's a slope.
Be interested to see what it's like over the bumpy wibbly bits. It's going, you know, I've got to come round on it and actually push it back up against the gravity.
Impossible.
The supermarket trolley has revolutionised the modern shopping experience, allowing hassle-free shopping around ever larger stores. Sainsbury's trolley fleet has grown to 200,000, each costing around £60. A substantial investment, reflecting their importance to successful retailing.
To have a good, usable trolley is fundamental to our business. We've got 430 stores that operate 24 hours a day, so we must have a piece of kit that is absolutely fit for the purpose.
As the man in charge of Sainsbury's trolley fleet, Director of Procurement Ken Barden knows that the wonky trolley is top of the list of customer complaints. Always on the lookout for anything that will really tackle the issue, he's agreed to take on Richard and Dick's design, but only if it can solve the steering problem.
We've had the five-wheel trolley, we've had the two-wheel steerable trolley, we've had trolleys with brakes on, but I don't think anyone quite yet has cracked this overall problem. So if someone could come to me with a trolley that was absolutely steer-free in terms of going where it wants to go, then we really have cracked it.
One of Sainsbury's key suppliers is Buco, based at Glenrothes in Scotland. It's not a high-tech business. The aim is to make trolleys that are cheap, durable, reliable and easy to steer. But with cupboards crammed with failed ideas, Head of Engineering Brian Lumsden is only too aware that the holy grail of a manoeuvrable, effortless trolley is no easy quest.
I believe that when Richard and Dick selected this project, they certainly took one on board which was the gem in many inventors' eye, and one which truly I believe is going to be very, very difficult to realise.
Well, here they all are.
Undeterred by the scale of the challenge, Richard and Dick set about finding a solution. They've invited along experts on trolley handling to a day-long brainstorming session. To the amusement of local residents, they kick off with a canter through some of the hundreds of previous attempts to solve the problem. One promising approach is to fix some of the wheels so that they can't float freely.
Here is an American trolley with swivel front wheels, but with fixed rear wheels.
Does that feel any easier?
Yeah, slightly easier.
Why does it feel easier?
I can use my body weight to help to push it in the direction.
If you've got a couple of wheels which are fixed in some way, which are providing some direction, then the wheels are helping you.
Story on the plastic.
But the superior steering of the American design also has its problems.
You just can't drag it sideways.
And there are ambitious solutions using handles, levers, and even an extra fixed wheel.
This is very good.
Hours later, Richard and Dick have decided that the key to the solution lies in redesigning the wheels. But how?
Well, this sounds good, doesn't it? This allows
It's time to see if they can succeed where so many others have failed.
It's not to do with load. This is not to do with load. Right. Imagine that we've got 3 wheels with 1 wheel at the front.
Any 3-wheel trolley will have less inclination go off to the right or the left.
We've then got something that tends to track straighter anyway.
Yes.
That will do the manoeuvre that we want. But the problem that we've got from what you're saying is...
But there's a problem with the 3-wheel design. It's too unstable.
People are forever... You have much more ability to tip it.
Like that.
Dick comes up with a completely radical approach. The wraparound trolley.
I have to say, this isn't my idea, okay? You know what thing you put your baby in when it can't walk, yeah? It's actually
a stroller.
This is a trolley you wear.
But it's too bulky to be a serious contender, and after hours of wrangling, the ultimate easy steer trolley remains as elusive as ever.
Oh well. Okay, so where are we going next then?
If we're after making a good handling trolley, then the 5th wheel system is far and away the best one for me.
An extra centre wheel seems promising. It gives more precise steering, but it doesn't win on manoeuvrability. At the end of the long day, the killer concept hasn't emerged.
This is a really, really tough one. I think given time, we could find a good solution. But it's going to take a lot of, working out, testing, working out, trying, and all of that stuff.
We actually came to this not feeling massively confident because we knew it would be difficult to do. Even at this stage, we aren't still massively confident about it. We know a lot more about the problem, so it's going to be a very exciting project.
Next, Richard and Dick find out what the shopping trolley can learn from sports car design. The Norfolk countryside might not be the obvious place to go in search of a better shopping trolley. But it's home to Lotus cars, and when it comes down to pure engineering, the steering of a sports car and a shopping trolley obey the same principles.
No wobbly wheels?
No, it's absolutely wonderful. It's just like a roller skate.
Steers correctly?
Steers absolutely brilliantly.
Nothing like the supermarket trolley there. The sports car gets great cornering and steering by having 2 fixed rear wheels, which keeps the car tracking straight. In a trolley, all the wheels can float around by 360 degrees. This is what gives the trolley its great manoeuvrability compared to the sports car, but also a mind of its own. The company behind some of the 20th century's most successful sports cars have agreed to turn their talents to the shopping trolley.
That's the one where we push it back.
Since nothing's working on paper, Richard and Dick are hoping that by building a test rig, they'll be able to try out different combinations of fixed and floating wheels. First, an old trick borrowed from car engineering. Mounting the wheels off-centre should tend to make the trolley run straight.
That's a serious amount of self-centering, that is.
It seems perfect. Until, that is, you try to change direction.
Oops, no way. As soon as we go back, like that, the trolley has to rise up. Now we have the caster in the wrong direction.
Oh, help me, mummy.
You need a slightly smaller angle on that one, don't you?
Next, placing the wheels in a diamond pattern. Here, the two end wheels can move freely, while the middle wheels are fixed. Keeping those middle wheels locked straight should give very precise steering, as it allows the trolley to pivot around its centre.
In terms of a pleasure to drive, you know, the amount of weight that's in this trolley, you could drive it one-handed if you wanted.
The potential problem with this is like a three-wheeler, is the load, you know, required to tip it off its corner, like that.
So, the fixed middle wheel gives easy, controlled steering. Now they just have to solve the tipping problem.
This is the one, is it?
They've decided to adapt the layout by adding two wheels at the back of the trolley. This will give much greater stability, but because the middle wheels remain fixed, the five-wheeler should still be a doddle to steer.
It's like a ballet dancer. It's fantastic. It handles so nicely.
The five-wheel trolley will corner precisely and go where it's pointed. At last, effort-free trolleys seem within reach.
Seems to have a lot of the manoeuvrability the four-wheel diamond configuration's got. This has got a lot going for it.
The test convinces them that the five-wheel solution is the right direction to go in. Back at their office in London, the ultimate trolley begins to take shape.
We've got our five wheels, and the blue is showing the wheels in both positions.
A first draft of the design has been sent up to Buco factory in Glenrothes, but head of engineering Brian Lumsden is not impressed.
Come down to see this new idea we've been sent, steering on the trolley.
Yep, this is a drawing I got sent here.
On seeing this proposal for the first time, I'm concerned that this has been trialled before. It has had some difficulties with stability, with manoeuvrability perhaps more importantly, and fundamentally I'm a little bit sceptical on what they've offered us today that will actually assist in terms of steering for the customer's benefit.
Brian Lumsden is worried that unlike current trolleys all over Britain, Richard and Dick's design won't be able to manoeuvre sideways because of the fixed centre wheels.
This is something that people have got very used to, and so if we introduce a design where you can't just pull it sideways or whiz it around like that, then people are going to feel it's different and probably worse.
It's a problem Richard and Dick will have to solve if their new trolley is to succeed. How to have wheels that are fixed to give precise steering, but floating to allow the trolley to sweep sideways.
Here's the insurmountable problem, right? This is always going to be a compromise between the need to lock the wheel in the forward position and the requirement that it turns into a free caster when you push it sideways. So clearly those are incompatible. So what we need is a system that, generally speaking, is locked in the forward direction, but if a certain force is applied, such as you might when you side sweep, it will break out of a lock, what we call a breakout, and allow it to spin and go in that direction.
They draw up the breakout idea, and the new part is machined up at Lotus's plant in Norfolk. It's an ingenious system that uses a ball bearing catch. The catch keeps the wheels locked forward, but can pop out to release the wheels when the trolley is given a good sideways shove. With time running out before the final presentation to Sainsbury's, Richard and Dick have come up to Buco to see the full prototype for the first time and to conduct some basic safety checks. Will the clever use of a breakout be enough to convince Brian Lumsden that they really have come up with something new?
Can we just have a quick fiddle?
They're broken out at the moment.
Yeah. They're going straight ahead. They want to be straight ahead, but when we want them to go sideways, they snap out of position.
Thanks to the breakout, the five-wheeler can now side sweep.
Now they're really bloody cooking.
I mean, I'm very enthused by it, I have to say.
Right. Well, that's a significant improvement, just being able to turn a corner.
Can you move it up against this rack? Pretend you're in the supermarket. Get it up against the
Coming
side.
in from an aisle, coming across an aisle.
Put it side on.
And I'm not moving.
Correct.
Manoeuvre out of position.
So I can simply do that.
How did it go?
Very easily.
Excellent.
Very sceptical when I first saw the drawings, but now the cynicism is certainly gone.
But to stand any chance of making it into the supermarkets, the new trolley has one final but critical hurdle to clear, the standard tipping test to establish whether it's stable.
John, do you want me to crank the handle or something?
No, it's okay. I'm okay now.
For Europe, that standard is set at an angle of 10 degrees. In Britain, it's 12.
It's going.
That's 6 degrees.
6 degrees.
So we've got to go twice as far as that. Yeah. This is bad news.
Okay, so.
This is a setback. It's not a deal breaker. We're 3/4 of the way up the mountain, and we've slid down one of the ice slopes. We're going to go back up again, basically.
I mean, come on, you know, we never give up. You know, there is a great solution here somewhere. You need to do a lot of testing, you need to try a lot of different things, but we'll get there in the end.
Back at their offices in London, Richard and Dick start work on cracking the problem. It's soon clear that adjusting the height and width proportions of the trolley would increase its stability, putting the European and the tougher British standard within reach.
Let's get these out.
Richard and Dick are convinced they've hit the jackpot, a trolley that steers easily around corners, doesn't run away on a slope and can still manoeuvre sideways. But will the man from Sainsbury's, Ken Barden, agree?
I feel pretty confident. I think we're on the way to something that's going to be demonstrably better. Hello.
Hello, Ken Barden.
Dick Powell. Nice to meet you, Ken.
Okay.
Richard
Hello.
Seymour.
Nice to meet you.
It's work in progress.
Okay.
Where we've got to on it. What we're trying to do today is to say, we're convinced about this. How do you feel?
We'd like this thing to feel precise, to go where you want it to go.
Right. I'm actually feeling a little bit of resistance there.
Okay, let's learn going through the checkout here.
There's a problem though. There was a typical customer coming through the checkout.
It's not going well, so Richard and Dick take Ken out to show the superior handling on a slope.
The biggest problem that we've been encountering on slopes is when you're trying to cross a slope, even quite a gradual one. The heavily loaded trolley will actually want to go down the slope.
Right, going that way, fine. Reversing, fine. Now I've got a real resistance. It's like a 3-point turn. Coming out the 3-point turn, I'm just not getting the the
Exactly
quick
right.
getaway.
In an effort to convince Ken, Dick reminds him of the runaway trolley problems afflicting the existing design.
You've got to walk around it to stop it going that way.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I wouldn't want our customers using that one at this stage. Now we've got to take this back.
Yeah, and we'll take them all back.
I wouldn't take that trolley as it stands at the moment, and you know, I accept that they are prototypes and more work to happen on them. But as it stood from the one I was shown and the one I tried to operate, I wouldn't let that loose on our customers as I saw it.
Again, Ken doesn't see the gravity of the problem at quite the same degree as we do, but I'm absolutely sure that consumers do.
I push these things every week, and I know that these problems are here, and I know that the problems that Dick and I have encountered are here. They have to be resolved, they have to be refined, but if we're to say we're on the right course, we're damn right we're on the right course.
Richard and Dick need to decide their next move. Do they abandon their design, or is it worth fighting for? There's only one way to find out.
That's quite a strain up round here. So we just want you to try another one. I have to tell you that this one steers very differently.
Okay.
We'll have to go right down the left one, I think.
They decide to carry out a limited trial, this time with customers themselves.
It seems to have more, oh yeah, that's more control around the corners.
Like Ken, customers do find the new trolley feels different, but when it comes to steering, they prefer it.
For you. I think I'd get the knack. I'd have to learn how to drive it.
Oh, it's much
How does
easier.
it feel?
Much easier.
Yeah?
Straight.
Did that feel easier or not?
Really,
Yeah?
that is, yeah, you can do really tight too.
So how did that feel?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah?
I would go for that one, without a doubt, yeah.
You would?
I would, yeah.
Good.
With the positive results of the customer trial behind them, Richard and Dick are back to meet Ken Barden with what they hope will be the ammunition to change his mind.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you very much for coming back.
Okay.
Good to
How
see
are
you
you?
again.
The results were.
Well, it has to be said that we were surprised, actually, because
Pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised, because
Okay.
like anybody, when you're developing something like this, you try your theories and then you try it on people. And we were so disappointed at how you reacted last time that we really did want to see whether our thinking was right.
I'm also surprised because I did find it extremely difficult. So there's obviously, we need to look again to see why our customers decided that was a better trolley.
But we know that
Ken gives the green light to take the design to the next stage, a formal Sainsbury's in-store
Okay,
trial.
well, as I say, I'm delighted to take it to the next level. Maybe come with you, work with the customers as well, and let's see how they perform in reality.
we couldn't ask for more.
Okay, brilliant.
I think that went better than we could possibly have expected, basically. We've got the idea past the goalie. You know, this is the person that actually stops ideas, and we've got him to agree to do a test. We couldn't have expected more than that, and now we can go forward to prove that this idea really is better for people.
I mean, really, where else could we have hoped to come out, for God's sake? I mean, you know, this is a result.